ladies and gentlemen. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to go back over first-hand and second-hand accounts. And this is something that is very, very important for us now because we're about to write our research papers and we're about to be done with them. And so having first-hand accounts and second-hand accounts is something that is essential to having a great research paper because you have people that were actually there, but you also have data that was collected, which is usually second-hand accounts. So, the standard that we're going to be looking at today is RI 46, compare and contrast first-hand and second-hand accounts of the same topic. And the topic that we're going to be going over today is something that you might be familiar with, but it's something that is very, very serious, and I want everybody to take this lesson very, very seriously. So the I can statements today. Because there are two I can statements because there are differentiation today, but everybody's going to be able to try everything if they want to. So I'm going to read the I can statements by myself, and then I'm going to have you all read them out loud after me, all right? So the first one is I can determine if a text is a first-hand account or a second-hand account after reading the text. And the second one is I can change a first-hand account into a second-hand account and vice versa. So if everybody will repeat after me, I can determine if a text is a first-hand account or a second-hand account after reading the text. I can change a first-hand account into a second-hand account and vice versa. So why is this important? Someone read the first bullet up there for me. Nikki, if you can read that first bullet for me.
First and second-hand accounts are great resources for research papers.
So they're great resources for research papers. So I need everybody to remember that. If I can have Alexis read the second bullet for me.
They are great to find out information about a certain topic.
So great to find out information about a certain topic. And Chris, can you read the last bullet for me?
Real experiences of a topic.
So real experiences of a topic. So everything that we're going to be going over today is something that actually happened. This is not a fiction story. And fiction means fake. Something that is made up by the author off of their own feelings. This is something that actually happened to these people in what we're going to read about today. So the topic is very, very serious. Topic is very, very serious. We're going to be talking about the bombing that happened in Birmingham, Alabama that actually killed 4 little girls. Killed 4 little girls and injured many, many other people that were also in that facility during the time of this bombing. So, when we are thinking, I want you all to really imagine this happening to people. Friends, loved ones. I want you to feel what these people felt. And when you see these first-hand accounts, and even some of the second-hand accounts, you're going to see the emotion pour out of these people because they were actually there. They saw this stuff happening to people that they cared about, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, grandpa. So you want to make sure that you are really experiencing this moment with them as well. The expectations that we're going to be going over. We're going to go over champs. And what does C stand for? Raise your hand. Tashawn. Conversation. What does H stand for? Kayana. What does conversation stand for? Drive. H stand for? Help. What does the A stand for? Octavia. Activity. What does the M stand for, Jaden? Movement. What does the P stand for, Janiyah? Participation. And what does success? And S stand for? I'm sorry, guys. Everybody together. Success. So the conversation level. Conversation level is a 0 or a number 1 when we have our group talks. H. Raise your hand when you need help. Activity. This is ELA and social studies that is meshed together, combined. Movement, there is none. All of the materials, you already have them. Or if you have to sharpen your pencil, what do you need to do in order to let me know you need to sharpen your pencil? Exactly what everybody's doing right now, raising their hand. That's how you get my attention. Participation, when you are engaged, actually talking and listening to others, and also being engaged in the reading as well as the videos that we go over. And if you do all of this together, you will be very, very successful today in the lesson. Right, so we're going to watch the first video. I'm telling you, this video is very, not graphic or not as in nasty, but it really shows you and makes you almost feel like you're on the steps with those girls. And I watched this movie actually in the movie theater where it was surround sound, loud, and I literally, me and my mom jumped and screamed when this part came on. But it was so real, and it made me actually feel what those people felt about what happened. So if, Kayana, you can go on and hit the lights for me. Here we go, guys. I'm sorry, guys. If you need to move, you can move to see. Go ahead and do that. 3, 2, 1. Everybody should be where they need to be.
Has spoken of his dream, one which we and many other people around the world share. To this undeterred hero for justice, the Nobel Committee of Oslo, Norway, awards our 1964 Peace Prize.
I accept this honor for our lost ones, whose deaths pave our path. I accept this honor for the more than 20 million American Negroes who are motivated by dignity. Together, we believe that what the illusion of supremacy has destroyed, the truth of equality can nourish.
I promise you, it ain't nothing to be scared of. It's quick and pass it right down there to see you.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is getting your hair wet up. I got my hair pressed that same morning. It was wasted as soon as I hit the water. I should have worn a sun cap like Mama said.
See, I asked my mama, could she make my hair like Coretta Scott King had her to watch Marks. But she said that was too grown.
Oh, I love her hair. I heard she don't put rollers in it. It's just like that. But I studied. I know how she do it. See, she parts in the middle, and then...
Back to your seat. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job, everybody. Donnie, you can turn on the lights for us. So, what I want you to do now is, I want you to simply just talk to your elbow partner about what you just saw. How do you feel about what you just saw?
It said boom, and then it just scared me. She said, first she parted in your hair, and then it said boom. I saw glass everywhere, and she I saw her feet, and she fell down. No, it was. I was scared. tell me because they expect all that. Yeah, but then why would KKK do without a bomb set in church? Because what God pushed them back. So God had to put a post on them. Look like they in jail for like blowing up a church. They does it.
I was so scared.
6.
I hope he didn't see that.
5, 4. I love how everybody got quiet before I even got to 1. That is exactly how it needs to be every single time. So someone share out what you and your elbow partner talked about spoke about as far as what you saw on that video. Cassidy, stand up and project your voice for us.
What me and Tasha talked about is that the girl that was just talking about her had gone down the steps, and one girl was just standing there, and then like wood was flying through, and Tasha said, "Why would KKK blow up the church?" She said that was something dumb, and he said, "And it's a church. The word of God was in that place." Now God could put a curse on him.
Okay, so absolutely correct. I like what you all were talking about. Let's have Janiyah. Stand up and I want you to project your voice so everybody can hear you.
What me, Cassidy, what me, Nakia, and Octavia talked about was that the girls, they were just walking down the stairs talking about each other's hair and stuff, about how their mama did to her. And then one of the girls was trying to show us the other group of girls like how her mom does her hair. And then Nakia said that it was scary because the bomb just came out of nowhere, and they wasn't harming nobody. They were just talking about like how their mom does their hair. And then you could just see that the bomb came and she like flew, and then it looked like she was up her mom.
Absolutely correct. So now what I want you to answer when you raise your hand, I want you to tell me, how did it make you feel? Watching that video, how did it make you feel? Because those girls, they weren't much older than you are. Probably 3 or 4 years older than you are, and one of them was actually just 11. So how did it actually make you feel watching that and knowing that this is something that actually happened? Chris.
I nearly cried.
Okay, so you nearly cried, and why? What was that reason for?
Because they wasn't harming nobody. All they was doing was walking down steps. Back to go out there and perform in church.
Exactly. So let's have one more person share out how they feel, and then we're going to continue with the rest of the lesson. Let's hear from Gerard.
Me and Chris, what we talked about was the same thing, basically, but when Dad was trying to go downstairs and perform, and when the bomb was hitting down under there, when I was reading the paragraph, like, I think a week ago when we was working on it, when I think it looked like it was into the wall, but it was into the steps.
Absolutely.
And they said four sticks of dynamite was blown up.
Exactly. So absolutely correct. So some of you already have prior knowledge about this, which is great, and some of you all might not. So that's why we're going over this and we're looking at it in more detail, more in depth, so we can all understand what was actually going on and why these were being caused. So one thing that I want to point out to you is that we need to make sure that we are looking at history and we understand history so history doesn't repeat itself. We don't want it to be where we go through life and the same things are happening over and over and over. We know this was a bad situation, right? Would you want any of this happening to your friends or family?
No.
No. So it's very important to understand your history as well as just history in general so you can make sure that this does not happen to anyone else. I'll get you in just a minute, okay? So, what you're going to discuss now with your elbow partner is what is a first-hand account and a second-hand account, and how are they different, and also how are they the same. I'm giving you 1 minute and 30 seconds to do this. Everyone can start right now.
Somebody told you about it and you wasn't there. The first account is like you experience it, like say like the one day I experienced going to the local basketball game and being a clock one of the way and my cousin so I went to win and she told me I did something on the girls.
Oh, I think the first hand account is when you restate what happened to you or what you did to another person.
Second hand. I already did this.
Yeah, 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think it has something to do with it.
No, he didn't have anything to do. I know exactly, and I know how you could think that, because even when I saw the movie at first, I thought he had something to do with it, but it was just a boy that was with him that decided to go back up the steps. He just wasn't want to walk with the girls, I guess. That's what I'm getting from it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk. I'm sorry, let's go back to that. So let me hear from a group what a first-hand account is. What is a first-hand account? First-hand account. Let's hear from Abshir. Stand up and project your voice, sir.
First-hand account is when you experience what you saw in film.
Say it out loud so everybody can hear you.
First-hand account is what you saw in film.
So what you saw in film. So if those girls, say if those girls didn't die, and they were to grow up and they were to tell their story, is that a first-hand or a second-hand account?
First-hand.
First-hand account, absolutely correct. It is a first-hand account because they experienced it, they felt it, they saw it, they literally lived through that. So what is a second-hand account? If we know a first-hand account is something that you actually experienced, something that you actually feel, and you were actually there in the moment, what would a second-hand account be? Todd Shine.
Secondhand is when you heard about it, but you haven't felt it or heard it. I mean, you did heard it, but you haven't felt it.
Okay, so basically, if you were to go home right now and you were to tell your mom, dad, brother, sister, anybody in your family about what we spoke about today, what type of account would that be?
Secondhand.
Huh? So did you experience the bombing?
Oh, well, you're saying if I told you, I would
No, what we talked about during the lesson. If you told them about the lesson as far as what happened in the bombing, that's what I meant. Is that first hand or second hand?
Secondhand.
It will be second hand because you didn't go through it, but you learned it from someone somewhere else and you told somebody else about it. So if you're not experiencing it, if you don't feel it, if you didn't see it firsthand where actually it's happening in real life, if you go back and tell someone else, it is going to be a second-hand account, no matter what. Everybody got it? Yes, Chris?
If those girls didn't die, would the KKK still be bombing stuff?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. This is something that different things happen. It wasn't just only this bombing that stopped or brought light to what was going on. A lot of things happened that brought light to the KKK and made it national news that this was going on in southern states. But we have to move on and I'll come right back to you. Okay, Jaden? So first-hand account. Everybody repeat after me. Obtained by.
Obtained by.
Coming from.
Coming from.
Or having a direct personal.
Or having a direct personal.
Observation or experience.
Observation or experience.
So that is an eyewitness. You saw it. You saw it. Secondhand account. Received from?
Received from.
Or through?
Or through.
Another person.
Another person.
So that is like a news reporter. Someone coming to tell you something that happened. That is going to be a secondhand account. So we're going to watch this next video. And then we'll jump into our activity. You have 10 seconds to come up here if you need to. And Kenyatta, you want to hit the lights for us? But you all right, here we go, guys.
It was the oldest black church in Birmingham, and it was fairly large. And so it made sense that these would happen there, which would also make it a target. On Sunday morning, September 15th, it was Youth Day, right after Sunday school. Addie Mae Collins, Carol Robinson, Denise McNair, and Cynthia Wesley are getting ready to go to the choir.
I remember Addie, I was closest to Addie, and we would go to church picnics. Addie and I just gravitated to each other.
Cynthia Wesley was a friend of mine. She was at my school. She was a 9th grader. Just started in September. And I was an 11th grader.
I remember Denise back there always smiling, and she was the only child. And I remember Carol Robinson being quiet. She played in the orchestra at the school.
Addie Mae's sister Sarah is also in that ladies' lounge. Sarah said the last thing that she remembers is seeing them helping each other tie on sashes, and then it went dark.
On Sunday, September 15, 1963 at 10 a.m.
We're talking about an explosion that reverberates through the entire city of Birmingham. Everybody heard it.
I was at South Eagleton Baptist Church, and our pastor was shifting kind of nervously across the room and said he had received word that 16th Street Baptist Church had been bombed.
I was in Sunday school class. The building seemed like it was shaking off its foundation. Fumes, smelling fumes, getting hit in the head. I couldn't find my younger sister.
So, what she just said, would that be a first-hand account or a second-hand account? Raise your hand, raise your hand. Dottie, would that be a first-hand account or a second-hand account?
First-hand.
It would be first-hand. Why would it be first-hand? What did she say that made you understand or know that it was first-hand, Janiyah?
Because she said that she couldn't find her little sister and she remembered flames coming and stuff.
Exactly. So she was very detailed about what she saw, and she told you that she smelled fumes, she saw flames, and that she was trying to hear her sister or call her sister's name out, or hear her sister call her name out during that time. So DeMarcus, I don't know what's going on over there, but it needs to stop.
Only later to find out that she was taken to the hospital. She was only 4. She was cut in the head, blood dripping down her clothes and down her face.
Reverend John Cross comes down after the explosion to go into the hole and hears moaning.
My father heard somebody saying, Addie, Addie. He realized that Sarah was calling her sister's name because that's the last voices that she heard before the explosion occurred.
They find the bodies, and they're almost literally stacked on top of each other.
He said it was like they had been flown together.
It devastated me. It was just so painful to know that these girls were killed at church. They had not done anything to deserve something like that.
So a lot that she's saying is how you all felt.
That was enough to pull people off the fence. Kids are supposed to be safe at church. This is not supposed to happen in America. We're above this kind of thing. And so this was the catalyst to get some things moving.
back to your seat. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you. If Donnie, you would turn on the lights for us. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to take out the text. It says the 16th Street bombing. That's the sheet that you're going to take out first. The 16th Street Baptist Church bombing is the headline and the title on the first sheet that you're going to look at. So for the next 10 minutes, what we're going to do is, and I might just reduce this time, we're going to read this independently, and then after that, we're going to popcorn read out loud so everybody can hear and everybody can make sure that they got the full story. All right? So, starting now, you can go ahead and start reading, guys. You're doing a great job. And I'm gonna give you guys about 2 or 3 more minutes to finish up reading, and then we're gonna start the popcorn reading, all right? About 40 more seconds to wrap it up. I see a lot of you all are getting done quickly. Twenty seconds. All right, guys. So what I want to do is everybody will flip it over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start, and then I'm going to pick someone to popcorn. After that, they're going to pick someone. That person's going to pick someone also, and so on, until we get done with the text, all right? So let me start. I'm going to start with the first paragraph. So instead of reading the box at the top, we're going to start with the very first paragraph. In the 1950s and 1960s, racial conflicts were a big problem in Birmingham, Alabama. A lot of people thought it was the most racist city in America. 21 bombs were set off at African American churches in the city between the years of 1955 and 1963. People gave the city the nickname Bombingham. Many civil rights leaders were trying to fix this problem in Birmingham. One of those leaders was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The activists worked to plan protests and events. The people who went to the protests often got arrested. The police in Birmingham did not allow the protests to happen without trouble. Civil rights leaders and community members went to the 16th Street Baptist Church to plan meetings. It became well known as a place where activists met. Sunday morning. Chris, can you start with that paragraph?
Until Sunday, September 15, 1963, no one was killed in the bombings. On that day, the 16th Street Baptist Church became the site of another explosion. At 10:22 a.m., the teenager Sunday school secretary got a phone call. The person delivered an anonymous message. It said 3 minutes. Less than 1 minute later, the bomb went off. 15 sticks of dynamite had been hidden under the church steps. The explosion hit the back room in the church inside. 5 young girls were getting ready to sing in the church choir. Witnesses said the bombing caused the girls to fly through the air like rag dolls. The blast also tore a 7-foot wide hole in the wall. In fact, the explosion was so powerful that a man who was driving by was blown out of his car.
All right, stop right there, Chris. So can you imagine, everybody knows how tall Mr. Mays is, right?
Yes.
So Mr. Mays is a very tall guy. Imagine a hole in the wall, just boom, A hole in the wall as tall as Mr. Mays. That's a pretty big hole, isn't it?
Yes.
Also, imagine the impact. Imagine you driving past the church and it being such an impact or being such a huge explosion that it shakes your car, but also blows you out of your own car. And you had nothing, you weren't in the church, you were just on the street right next to it. That's how powerful and how massive this explosion was. So this wasn't like a little firework going off, boom, oh no. This was something almost as if you were in the military or some, you're over in a different country and they have bombings and different things like that. It was one of those things. Something that was very uncommon for that time, year or that in that time or whatever, pretty much. Something very, very uncommon. So if I could have, Chris, you can actually pick the next person.
I pick. Does it have to be a girl?
Go on and let it be a girl. That'll be fine.
I pick Octavia.
Right.
The bomb killed 4 girls. Addie Mae Collins,
Carol.
Louise McNair, Carol Robinson, and
Cynthia.
Cynthia Wilson. The 5th girl, Sarah Collins, was badly injured. Pieces of glass have blown into her eye and blinded her. Beyond the 4 girls, the explosion injured 19 other people. Black people in Birmingham reacted quickly to the bombing. Many people rushed to the church to help look for bodies in the church roof. Hundreds discovered the stormed city. The people in buildings that white people owned and protested violently. It took 300 extra state policemen to help Birmingham's police get the city back under control.
All right, so we're going to actually stop right there, and we're going to go on to the activity. So the activity that we're going to be doing today is going to be kind of fun. I think it was fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. But so it said we're going to decide if the text is firsthand or a secondhand account. So what I need you to do is you have that half sheet of paper. Everybody pull your half sheet out and put it in front of you. Put that in front of you. And what you're going to do is you're going to do this. So here's the first text. It says, the funerals for the 4 girls got a lot of attention around the U.S. Thousands of people, including more than 800 clergymen of all races, attended. Martin Luther King was also there and spoke at the event. He encouraged people to keep working toward civil rights. He hoped that if we worked hard enough, crimes like the bombing would no longer happen. Is this a first-hand account or a second-hand account? Nakia.
It is a second-hand account.
It is a second-hand account. Everybody give Nakia a hand clap. Absolutely correct. It is a second-hand account. And why do we know it's a second-hand account, Nakia? How can we tell that it's a second-hand account?
Because it said, I thought it was a second-hand account because it said Martin Luther King was also there and spoke at the event, and it said
encouraged.
Encourage people to keep working towards the and it just sounds like that it was a second account.
Like someone's telling you this?
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
they say,
Absolutely, absolutely. Jaden, you want to add something to it? Absolutely correct. Say that out loud so everybody can hear you. Absolutely correct.
It was first instead of saying including more than 800 it was said I was one of them.
Exactly. Jaden is absolutely correct. So what you're going to do now is you're going going to take this second-hand account and you're going to turn it into a first-hand account. And remember, a first-hand account is when you experience it. So I want you to take some time. It doesn't have to be absolutely correct, but I want you to get in groups. So we're going to have our first group be everybody over here. Our second group is going to be this back row, including Octavia and my back row. And then you six are going to be in a group together. And you're going to turn this into a first-hand account. You have 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. If you don't get done, it is okay. We are all learning right now. Start now. Huh? No, you can all just talk and discuss. Everybody doesn't have to be the same. But you can talk in a group to kind of get your juices flowing and going. You can, but you have to turn back. Turn back.
Four girls got a lot of attention. Probably could say that the funeral, the four girls kind of got my attention instead of a lot of attention.
Make sure I want it right. I want it written on that paper also, guys.
Including me. It could have said, but it said U.S. thousands of people, including more than 800 persons.
Everybody's doing a great job working together. Remember, you're turning our second-hand account into a first-hand account. And remember, you might not be right. It might not be all the way correct. But I want you to start thinking, how can I turn this into a first-hand account? And a first-hand account is how you experience it. You felt it. You were there. You saw it. So you're turning that second-hand account into a first-hand account.
At the beginning for the four girls.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, you're using the one up there. The one that's on the wall. Remember, you're using the one that's on the smart board.
If she put, I was there with Martin Luther King, that would be for saying, so put that. Instead of saying, E-N-T-I-O.
You guys have about 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
I thought it just. I thought it was different. I was one of the 800. Yeah, but we got some down. I use what she said because in the U.S.
That's why you usually exactly what's up there. Good job, guys. Everybody's doing a great job.
Yeah,
Yes.
thousands of people listen to this. Thousands of people.
What would you say? What would make it more of a person? I, you, what?
We,
You.
he, I, listen, I heard.
Yes. Yes, I heard. Let's take one more minute. One more minute. And everybody needs to be back in their seats before I get to one. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So let me hear what some of you all had. I want to hear from two people. So let's hear from Janiyah, you be the first one, and then Hashim, you're the second one. So stand up, and I want you to say it very, very loud so everyone can hear you.
Working towards the civil rights movement.
Is she correct?
Yeah.
Everybody give her a hand clap for that. Absolutely correct. So she said what? So she changed it by saying that I heard Martin Luther King say that we need to be encouraged. I heard this. I felt like this. So she made it her own experience. So that's absolutely correct. That is how you take a second-hand account and turn it into a first-hand account. Let's hear from you, Hashim.
I saw the funeral and it got a lot of attention. And I saw more than 800 clergymen of all races. And I saw Dr. Martin Luther King talk.
Is he correct?
Yes.
Absolutely correct. Everybody give Hashim a hand clap. Absolutely correct. You all are doing a great job. So now what we're going to do, we're going to look at Mr. Williams, the one I wrote. So I said, the funeral of my friends got the attention around the U.S. Thousands of people were there. I saw many clergymen, and they didn't look the same, but they were all there for the same reason. I was really amazed when I heard Martin Luther King speak. He told us all that he wanted us to do was keep working toward civil rights. He gave us hope that if we continued with what we were doing, bombings would no longer happen. Is Mr. Williams correct?
Yeah!
Give me a hand clap. All right, so let's wrap it up. Before we go to our exit slip, let's talk about what did you learn today? What did you learn today? Tashawn, what is one thing that you learned today?
I learned about
Can hear you. So you learned about history, okay? Alexis, what did you learn today?
I learned about the civil rights had a lot of bombings in churches.
Okay, so there were many bombings in churches. Absolutely correct. Octavia, what did you learn?
I learned that you can turn a first hand to a second hand and a second hand to a first hand.
Okay, so you learned that you can switch a first hand to second hand to first hand. Absolutely. DeMarcus, what did you learn?
What I learned today was how the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing.
Absolutely correct. And one more person. What did you learn, Cassidy?
What I learned is that Ku Klux Klan was back then they was very selfish and they thought they was all of it, and they got what they wanted, and nobody was doing nothing about it because it was a racist.
Absolutely correct.
Can I add to that?
Huh?
Can I add to that?
It adds hers real quick.
Okay. What I wanted to add is because the reason why they kept on doing bombings in churches is because they saw that nothing was happening, like they wasn't going to jail at this, so they figured, well, hey, let's keep on doing it because nothing's gonna happen, and like since we white, we could do anything we want to.
Hey, if that's what you think, I'm not going to argue with it. That was a good way to think about that, and I think that is something that's valid, very valid. So, let's start with our exit slip. So, everybody has a red chip or a blue chip. Hold up your chip. Hold up your chip. So, depending on the color chip that you have is what exit slip you're going to do. So, red group, listen up. You're going to identify if the prompt is a first hand or a second hand account. So when you look at your paper, your exit slip paper, you're going to see it says answer at the bottom of 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to simply write if it's a first hand account or a second hand account. You're also going to circle why you see that it's a first hand account or a second hand account. All my blue chip people, raise your hand. Raise your chip. Switch chips. Blue chips. You're going to identify also if the prompt is first hand or second hand. But you're going to take two of these prompts and you're going to switch them. So you're going to identify, you're going to say if it's a first hand account, this is the second hand, this is the first hand, this is the second hand. And then you're going to pick two of these and you're going to switch them to the opposite account. Just like we did in our activity. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
So the red group is going to figure out if it's a first hand or second hand account. And they're also going to circle evidence of how it is a first hand or second hand account. And then our blue group is going to identify if it's a first hand or second hand account. And then they're going to switch two of them to the opposite accounts. Does everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Take that time now, and then you're going to turn that in. Put your name at the top. Yes, sir. So all my red chip people, if you want to try what the blue chip people are doing, you can absolutely do it. Absolutely try it. Yes, sir. Go to Miss Johnson. I'm going to put the definition back up here for you, all right? So ladies and gentlemen, what I need you to do now is, if you can go ahead and put your name at the top of your paper, and you can pass your paper back to Chris, pass your paper back to Hashid, and if you're on this row, you can pass your paper down to Abshir. And I'm gonna look over all these, and then we're gonna come back to it, all right? No, just pass your exit slip. Exit slip. Let's do this quickly. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Everybody needs to be back in their seat. Stay down. So I'm going to collect it from Abshir. Hashim, I'm going to collect yours. Just a minute, guys. And Chris. All right, guys. So I want everybody to give yourselves a hand clap. Loud, loud, loud. So I want to let you all know that a lot of you all did a lot of higher thinking today. It wasn't something that was easy. It was something that was going to be challenging. So if you didn't get it on the first try, we are going to definitely come back to this. So I want everybody to, I will first thank you all for having a great lesson. And let's get back to what we're going to do.